Welcome back to G-Brands. I'm Andy Rowe, and this week's a special podcast focusing on rugby's greatest rivalry. And in studio, two members of the All Blacks' historic victory over the Springboks in 1996, Justin Marshall and Frank Bunce. I want to go back to where it started with South Africa for you, because I want to focus on your relationship with South Africa, Frank, and also Marshy. But we're going to go back to 1992, because that was when South Africa came back on the scene after apartheid. You went on that tour, didn't you?
Yeah. So my relationship with South Africa, with rugby, was just, getting up in the middle of the night and watching them play. I had Danie Gerber was kind of, I used to love all of those old school names.
That's right.
Joe Mort and I can't even think of them all now. But man, they South Africa was, and it's always been the enemy, the greatest foe, and hence the greatest rivalry. I believe that, but I just used to love watching the All Blacks play the Springboks. That was my thing. So to get a chance, I think they spent 30 years out of the game, was it? Apartheid, yeah. So that was a long time, and you really didn't know anything of what was going on, rugby wise in South Africa, because there wasn't a lot of coverage back then. And then getting the chance to go there, we were the first team to go back. So, man, it was just exciting as anything. So, to get the chance to go there. Funnily enough, and I'll skip forward ever so slightly, by the time I finished playing, I'd been to South Africa so many times. I was thinking, fuck, if I never go back to South Africa again.
Well, I'm done. I've caught up real quick.
Yeah, I'm good. You want to go to South Africa? No, I'm good. I'm all good.
Did you ever watch the Cavaliers tapes?
Yeah.
Because Danie Gerber played in that, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was. I remember him, and that's probably because for me, you're not that much older than me, but watching that, and that was, I think that was 87 or something like that, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, and I remember seeing
because the World Cup, the first World Cup.
Can you bring the and the listener up to speed on Danie Gerber?
Well, he was just not like a back that was being produced back then, like when you saw the size of him for a centre, the power and the speed and just this physicality with skill set as well, you went, this guy, where's he?
Yeah.
How has he been created, because there was no gym back then, eh?
No.
So, because you would
muscle bound, like, not overly, just, man, the physique, you just look at him and he could do everything. He would run over you, run through you, run around you, everything. And so for me, he's in the conversation for the definitely greatest centre ever.
Wow,
ever in the world.
Yeah.
So,
so did you mark them in 92?
92, yeah.
That must have been.
He scored 2 tries.
Did your job as per usual, Buncey, but you're on fire.
I let him through because I loved him.
Who was playing 12? It was their fault.
Who was it?
So you marked him.
Yeah. But he was on the downhill then. He was about 30. He's probably my age.
He's on the downhill. He just got a couple of tries.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Imagine if he was on the up.
Oh shit! But myself and John Timu, we were rooming together.
Yeah.
And the night before the game, they were playing all these highlights, Springbok Rugby, and we sat there and just watched Danie. Just about everything was him.
Yeah.
The whole, and we were just looking at each other going, wow, look at this guy. And, so, it wasn't a good build-up. Man.
What do you remember of the Ellis Park crowd when you went out there? It was at Ellis Park, the test, right?
Yeah. Ellis Park is like, it probably still is, like, it's quite intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
When we first got there, and I think, because we played in Joburg at Ellis Park, and then the Wallabies were playing them the very next week, I think in Cape Town, something like that. And when we got there, we got off the bus, and you're kind of walking into, you don't even know what you're walking into, and we got off the bus, and some of the Wallabies were there, just.
Because they were playing them the following week, were they? Yeah, that's right.
So they were there, just looking, but you look, you catch eyes with someone. And, on their face, they're like, fuck, they're worried for you. And you're thinking, but, you're walking into Ellis Park, and it's big concrete, just grey and cold and that. And you just think, oh, this isn't good. It's not a good feeling. But to get out there and, the atmosphere when that place is packed, and you jump forward to the World Cup final, you go out there and man, the atmosphere is just banging. It's awesome.
I think it's a place that you put the boots on there. There's not many bigger tests in the game.
Yeah.
Like to be able to test yourself on an arena in a country. The Springboks at Ellis Park.
Yeah.
I would imagine at the moment the All Blacks have formulated that incredible record at Eden Park. There's this feeling about Ellis Park that for all the big new flash stadiums I've built, and they've got some pretty spectacular ones, since the Football World Cup. But Ellis Park is their home. It means something more to them for whatever reason. And when you're in that stadium, you know that you're in a very foreign place, and they're out for blood. And great, that's gives me goosebumps now.
That's why you play that.
Yeah,
that's why you want to play that level.
Yeah,
we when we got there in '92, because we toured Australia first, we got there and then we went to South Africa, and hopping on, and everyone was really excited about going, and we played a few of their provinces beforehand, but it was like a step back in time. Hopped on South African Airlines flight and you're just going, what the fuck? And then you're worried because it's fucking 12 hours across the water. You're thinking, but get there, and when we got there was really early in the morning, I think it was. But the airport was packed with people and, hanging on the rafters and, everything's down and the media. And it was like, man, it was just crazy. But, it just, everything just built. Yeah. And the atmosphere, it was crazy. And at first, I can't even remember the order of the games and that. But, you're down there. And first thing that strikes you is how big everyone is. You line up, you call out of the changing rooms. And this happened quite a few. All Blacks were never really that big.
Yeah.
There was a lot of countries had much bigger men, but come out of the changing room, okay, go down into the tunnel, you're waiting to run out, and then you go, and fuck, they're huge. And you just go, shit. And then fucking run out
you
there.
go.
Yeah, out you go, and good luck.
Good luck.
And then you came back in '95 and for a centre, having the big fella, Jonah Lomu, outside you, you had an extra string to your bow, didn't you, Frank?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have just said, Jonah, all you guys did was, as fast as you could get the ball to Jonah. You had nothing else except
skip pass.
Yeah, skip pass. Exactly. Yeah. We were all calling it. Marshy, Jonah.
Yes. 9 to 11.
Yeah, exactly.
Heaps of missed threes, eh?
Yeah. Fuck, if you had Jonah out there, you would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's like
get
common
the ball
sense.
to Jonah and back him up.
Exactly. That was back him up, yeah. And then when he was on his hands and knees crawling, because miraculously someone managed to make him fall over, then you'd get a bit of dregs.
Yeah,
but usually he was scoring.
You'd have to say, well, I would. He's probably been the best player ever for rugby. So whether he was technically or not, probably not. But man, you put the ball in his hand, and millions and millions of people up on their feet, and people love him all around the world.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like I guess to have the superstardom that he brought to that Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
I've always said that Jonah was basically the catalyst that rugby needed to launch into professionalism.
Yeah.
Because
perfect timing, actually.
It was,
Yeah.
because he reached global parts of the world that rugby hadn't reached, but he did through his YouTube exploits. People in America and that were watching his power and this athlete, and that's what rugby needed to generate that, to get the, the news companies and all that interested, and the sponsors and all that going, hey, this game could be something pretty special when we got athletes like that. So to have the thing with Russia, mate, those sevens teams back then, you had guys like Jonah, Cully, and the thing with Russia that always struck me was, these kids were young, and he had this ability, he would call Jonah out on a few things, like his nostrils and all that sort of stuff that none of us would go near. But Rusty, he didn't give a shit, did he?
No, exactly.
I can't remember. But remember when we did Cully? And he called Cully something.
Oh, not
beer
beer
bottle.
bottle.
Beer bottle.
Beer
'cause
bottle.
He's empty from the neck up.
Yeah.
But he called out when he was going on stage. Like he was making up names. He was introducing
That's
all
right.
the players to
Yeah,
go up
that's
on
right.
stage. I think it was at Hong Kong or something. And then he just he introduced Cully, and he's like, "This is Christian Cullen. We call him Beer Bottle because he's empty from the neck up." And it's the first time Cully had heard it. So
Yeah,
what? Okay.
that's because if we called it to him behind his back.
Yeah, exactly. But Rushy's quite happy to tell, to tease Jonah about his big nostrils right in front of him, and everyone else is thinking, "Oh, well, shit." Okay.
With Jonah, was there ever like a time where you
No.
you turn up to a game and you're like, shit, I'm just maybe I don't need to be at 100% today because I can just catch pass.
Fucking every. You always go out there and, you always give your best. Or you try to. You think you are. And Jonah was, he was always a team player and he'd do what he had to do. But, it was obvious you needed to get the ball in his hands as much as possible because he was the one who could create stuff out of nothing. Basically, we were just there. It's 1995 World Cup, man, that guy. Oh, shit. I remember because I'm involved with this charity called 100 World Legends. And it's all international players from around the world. And so I go up and there's a couple of Irish guys that come up all the time and they played against us, in the first game in 95. And they were saying that their coach was going, "Fuck, and this guy, he's never been tested, go fucking let him have the ball, let them get the ball to him and then we'll just,
We'll smoke him and rock his confidence."
Yeah, exactly. He's going, "Yeah, what do you fucking know?" Yeah. But that was it, from the beginning, because Laurie and the rest of the management put him through a pretty harsh, build-up. He wasn't the greatest trainer and he wasn't probably as fit as he was ever going to be or anything like that. But, he was just natural. And, like you were saying, that World Cup, man, that in 95, that was Jonah Lomu. That was his World Cup.
Mate, that must have been like, because you won't remember this, but I remember coming and playing with you guys thinking how cool it was. I don't know whether you had that experience because you came from Samoa, didn't you, into the All Blacks?
Yeah.
And then after the 95 World Cup, just fast forwarding again because he likes to fast forward stuff. A couple of months, I'm sitting in a changing room in France, looking around at basically the same team that played that World Cup final.
Yeah.
It gave me massive reassurance to see you legends of the game in my dressing shed, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think we might be all right today. Yeah. Obviously, we did have a really good performance. That was Laurie's last game as All Black coach. But what was it like, actually just going out there onto the field for that final? Because, mate, I remember John Smith telling me, hey, when South Africa there's a massive occasion back then, like Mandela would come out.
Yeah.
And so he'd shake all the hands in that. And when he was captain, John Smith, he'd say, when Mandela came out, it's like, yes, boys, we're on today. We're on today. But that must have been unbelievable environment.
Yeah, well, that worked for us too, I think, to see that, a guy like that in the flesh and get to shake hands with him and stuff like that. And, so that kind of worked for us too.
Yeah.
But, you run out and, I'd be the same. You run out and it's nerve-wracking. You're running out into this huge atmosphere. There's just a bash of everything. And you run out and that. And so, I used to look around the stadium and take it all in. But then I'd come back, when you had to come back in, then you start looking around at all the people.
Yeah.
You go, I feel all right.
Good.
We're good. Zinny and bloody... Well, our team, that team we had then.
Very good team.
It was, that's like people ask about the, different eras and different teams. And I think, I was pretty lucky, my time was especially towards the end of, sort of mid-90s, 96, 97, 95, 96, 97, kind of in there, it was our team. We were humming, man. And shit, there's a lot of people in that team that are in the conversation as well as the best players in their position. In their position, best ever All Blacks,
How quickly did the mood shift from that 95 disappointment to knowing that you had a tour of South Africa coming up next year where you could kind of, in some ways, make amends?
I think it shifted pretty quickly. I think, once we got we're all aware of it, but, once we had new management, basically. And, a lot of new people in the team. And, the basis of, we had still quite a few from 95, but we had a fair few new guys come in as well. And, but with a new management team, new expectation, and, Hardy ran things differently than Laurie did. And, it was, I think we just got on with the job. Really.
Yeah.
As far as I can remember.
When you go on a tour, like the All Blacks are going on this tour, how important are the midweekers? Because you've mentioned this before about them being the reason you guys won in 96. Like how does that fit in, and how make that make sense?
I think because earlier tours, you had to play midweek and Saturday, the same group mostly. And so you'd go through, playing quite a bit of rugby, and then the training on top of that. But again, South Africa is different. And I think that's what I've been saying, I think, is that, if because John Hart had to fight the rugby union, to be able to take 36, I think we took then.
Yeah.
And so he had to fight, to do that. And I think it was mostly around cost and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they hadn't allowed that, and if he hadn't had the foresight, I don't think we would have won, because, the travel, and games in South Africa are physical as anything. And everybody wants to beat the All Blacks. Any touring team, they lift their game, and it's, it can be draining.
It's their World Cup final every time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's their World Cup final, and then, so you really have to manage, your squad. So, in 96, we were, the midweek team would go and the test team would stay, with a few, changes here and there. But, even that was unusual, because it didn't quite feel right, to have everyone going and then you staying, or the other way around, So,
weren't you training like once a week at one point?
At the end, we were.
Yeah.
How battered up were you?
Well, it was, we were off the back also of the Rugby Championship, at that time, which was called the Tri-Nations. And so we'd had a couple of real ding-dongs against Australia as well, because they were a good side back then.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, I think, didn't you scored the winning try in 96 in Brisbane?
Yeah.
Eh?
That's right.
Frickin' old Cully.
Old crowbar, mate.
Exactly.
He had you free, and he didn't pass it, did he? But you
he
picked
loved
it
the
up.
dummy, he loved the
dummy.
dummy.
Did he? What? He won us the game in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Mertz, real well executed back move, and Bunce ended up scoring.
We practiced that move, and we'd never called it, and then we got that scrum.
Yeah.
And Zinny was going, I think, wasn't he telling you, wasn't it 8-9 or not?
Yeah.
But he wanted it.
He did want it.
And then you ignored him.
Yeah.
And Mertz had overcalled and said, fuck, we're just going to do this. And then we did that and called the move. And Cully normally would score those, but I think someone just clipped his leg.
He was literally, I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches short, which was so funny, because he didn't have the glory, and then you got that.
All I did was pick it up and go,
yes,
all over it.
So they were a good Australian side, and they built momentum, right through that period. They're a tough old beast to crack. So we'd had those couple of test matches, and then when we arrived in South Africa, we also had the last game in the Tri-Nations.
Yeah, that's
right. That was basically part of. It became like the All Blacks have got now, a 4-test series. Basically, 3 tests were only counting for the historic tour.
Yeah.
But we still had to play the last game in the Rugby Championship. I mean, in the Tri-Nations, as it was at that time. So we had that game as well. So we were quite a few test matches of difficult games deep by the time we got to the last one at Ellis Park. So it was starting to take its toll.
Yeah, I think Hardy had said that if you had to do it again, because he stuck with the group that had got him through to that point. And he probably should have made changes, for that last test.
Yeah.
Because everyone was bloody beaten up and had it. He said he didn't want to, because he wanted to be loyal to the guys that had got him right through there.
Yeah.
He said, but he could see during the game, I should have made changes.
I think what was really important for me, only being 22, I think I was at the time, or something like that, was these guys like Bunce, Fitzy, guys like Robin Brocolo, a lot of those experienced All Blacks, I think, recognised the significance of us having to go to Ellis Park and win the series. And I just remember all the chat that week, and Fitzy was really, really big on it. He was going, because we'd obviously won the first test, and it was a 3-test series, and he said, I remember his words like plain and clear as day, religiously repeated throughout the week. There's no fucking way we're going to Ellis Park with the series on the line. We're winning it in Pretoria. That's it. Yep. No, at all costs. Don't matter if it's we have to start a full-on fight, whatever it might be. We gotta get it done here at Loftus. Yeah. That was the massive messaging I felt from the senior All Blacks at that stage.
So what did that look like for you, Frank, that week, knowing that that was the rhetoric coming out of the senior players? Like and you're only training once that week?
I was at a point then where I was, I was able to, because early on in my All Black career, especially, man, I was really inconsistent. I was up and down. I couldn't focus properly. I was just trying to find myself. And Laurie was getting pissed off. 1 week I'm here, next week I'm here, and he's like, what? So, but by that time, end of 95 into 96 and all of that, I'd figured out, how to be the best that I could be, on the day. So I was actually reasonably calm going into all of that, but well aware of, of Ellis Park, the looming that game and the importance of it. So I was fine. I'd just go through the week doing what I had to do, train, But in those days, even, really it was only a training. I don't know if we did any mental preparation or anything. We didn't, I certainly didn't do any reviews or any, wasn't looking at, what Yappy Mulder, I think it was back then too. Yeah. But, I didn't specifically look at him. I would focus on myself and the rest of the team. So I went about it just as a normal test week, but knowing the importance. But by that time I was at a point where I didn't need to do anything extra. I was aware and I could handle it.
I think the fact that they were good, also, like, they were a good side. They had the basis of that 95 side, really, a core group of them there, and then you had your superstars like your Van der Westhuizen, that could change a game. Guys like Gary Teichmann,
Andre Hubert.
Yeah, Andre Hubert. Yeah, they just hard.
I think that Ruben Kruger.
They
were just hard.
Yeah, they were tough, man. Yeah, and unrelenting, and they had some big men as well.
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, Osterant.
James Dalton.
Yeah. So they were a formidable team to have to focus on in the best of weeks, let alone have a historic test match to think about, So, I'm with Buncey. The prep wasn't difficult because it was all a real challenge that you were presented with at the start of the week, and it was basically just messaging of, they're good, the situation is difficult, but we're good enough. There's a real good feeling at that stage, wasn't there, in the entire group? The midweek guys had done awesome. And they were always there in the stands. Like Jonah wasn't even playing.
Glenn Osborne on the left wing.
Yeah. So, he was there and representing, and there was just this real togetherness that we had, and I think everybody just bought into. Some players had to come in. Like, we lost Mertz early. In that trip, so he was in the stands as well. Simon Colhane started that game.
John Preston, what a hero!
Yeah.
Who's going to be the John Preston of this tour? Like someone that can play halfback, 10, kick goals.
Leroy Carter.
Yeah. What's he like as a goal kicker?
Don't know, but he can do other stuff, can't he? But so there was a real good feeling, and I guess when you look at it, and I don't think I've watched the full game myself. I don't know if I sat down and watched it, because my memory and recollection's always been very good. I can can ask me about things and I'll remember them. I don't need a videotape to tell me. I don't know why that is. That's why I didn't do much reviewing either myself, Buncey, but we'll call each other bloody peas in a pod there, eh?
Yeah.
But there was some really real pivotal moments in that game, like one of them was, like I made a break early in that game when we scored, I think our first try, Goldie scored it. And I should have passed, and I didn't. I tried to beat the defender because I went through a massive big hole. And then I actually got tackled.
Was that the one, Goldie scored?
Yeah.
Was that Moose?
Moose and Carmo, the two locks combined.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, I managed to keep the pass alive because I'd actually should have passed it earlier. And then, I think it was Moose, it was Carmo first and then Moose or whatever, the other way around. And they kind of saved my bacon type thing. There's a lot of guys in that game that did some very special things that contributed to us. Carmo, mate,
he was phenomenal in that game.
He was. And, other guys, like you said, John Preston came on, the way that Simon Colhane Nibs stood up. I think Andrew Blowers
came on.
Right. Came on in that game. He was an unusual choice on the bench, but he performed his role. Zinny with his frickin' drop goal. Do you know what I mean? Like and John Preston with that unbelievable kick from the halfway nearly.
Yeah.
Lots of guys really, and then the defence at the finish, guys like Fitzy and
Olo Brown,
and you mentioned Robin Brook, people just putting their bodies on the line. That there was just this real feeling of this team was destined to do it because it was just a real good feeling amongst everybody,
That moment where they were hammering away at your line. Were you quite vocal at that point? Like, who's making the noise? Who's directing traffic?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Were you actually?
I've never heard that much noise out of an entire group of players. Everyone just encouraging each other. Get up, get up, go again.
Go, yeah.
It was incredible. I never ever in any of my test matches subsequent after that did I ever experience that type of energy and determination.
Yeah.
Like everyone was, we had all bought in and we were all together on what we were doing.
Yeah. That says a lot about the team.
Shit, yeah.
Not the individuals,
the
team, and you were, if I yelled at Marshy or he yelled at me or we yelled at Zinny or Fitzy or anything, they'd just get up.
It wasn't personal. It was just, come on, man. We were teammates.
There's only a couple of times it got personal.
Yeah, true. But I don't think there was a lot of, to be fair, wrapping of arms there at the finish. There was just guys going in super low at kneecaps, trying to get them on the ground.
Yeah.
But hey, that was in the day where they weren't scrutinised, that sort of stuff. So
no TMO, how good.
Yeah, but
exactly.
Yeah, but it was exhausting. Like because it was such a wasn't it? It was a free flowing test.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ball movement. There was lots of line breaks. And then obviously they came home real strong because when you think about what we were trying to achieve, they were trying to protect their history. Their chats in the changing rooms would have been exactly the same. The All Blacks, they've never beaten us on our history on our home soil, and that's not happening on our watch.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they had equal amount of determination as us, which just adds to the whole.
Yeah, because you can imagine exactly what our chat would have been leading up to that.
Yeah.
And be like, I played in that last game in 1994 where...
Oh, yeah.
Where France beat us at bloody Eden Park.
That's right.
And now, 52 games later... was that 94 someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you talk me through the hardest or the toughest Springbok you've ever faced?
I mean, every game you played, it was physically. This is just how I played the game. You try and intimidate someone. You try it on them, and sometimes it works. And you couldn't intimidate South Africa. You try. Yappie Mulder was the guy I played against a lot of the time. You try and give him a little knock or a push or something. He'd turn around and come back at you. Just like, hey. So you couldn't intimidate. You couldn't beat them into submission, really. But oh man, I'd say physically, Yappie Mulder, he was fast and strong, and just he was always difficult. But it's hard to pick out one person because a lot of guys they do a lot of different things. Tim Hoare and Jason Little. That pairing was great, and they were really hard to play against. Will Carling and Jeremy Gusker.
Yeah, not bad.
Guys, there's heaps of people.
Yeah.
The worst rugby that I played was club rugby in Auckland in the 80s, where there were no rules. And there were all these flying,
Especially when it's an away game, because the touch judges are the reserves for the other team, so they don't see shit, mate. When someone's kicking the piss out of you or throwing punches, and they're just like, I didn't see anything, ref.
Not that the ref asked.
No, that's right.
You didn't mention Michael Brial in there at all.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Now, I do take the blame for that because I elbowed him. But, again, that was back in the day because people, even now, they say to me, and he didn't even get, yellow card.
No, he just got penalised.
Yeah, just got penalised. Yeah, well.
Did he land any shots?
It's because he was punching the ball.
Yeah.
I think the first one. Ask Mertz because he was fucking walking behind me. He wasn't even watching.
Taking photos.
I brought that up and he goes, well, fuck, what could I have done?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, good point.
True. Yeah, good point. Nothing.
So you started it with an elbow and then he lost the plot and then...
He was right. I bent down to pick the ball up and when I looked up, he was right there and he was coming in. So I just went, poof, and just smacked him right in the face. Then his head went back, and when he came forward, he was throwing punches.
He had the red mist had set in big time.
So I said,
You went back to South Africa in 1997, Ellis Park. Am I right in remembering that you were under quite a bit of criticism in the media for your form that year? Is it?
Yeah, Super Rugby. Every year I was.
But it was like, should he be in the team kind of?
Yeah. Because there was a headline. Which gets brought up. Too old, too slow, 2 tries.
You did get 2 tries that day.
Yeah.
One of them was from about 40-odd metres out.
Yeah.
Just kept going and going, eh?
I had to.
I was watching thinking, fucking hell, surely someone's going to tackle him. No.
Like, he's fucking out.
Yeah.
Because I think, actually, in that game, I took the ball up, like real early. Might have even been my first touch, and like the ball got stripped. Might have been twice, actually, where I lost the ball early on. And I was thinking, oh, fuck hell.
This is it.
But it was what, because in those days, like I was saying, I just go, oh, fuck it. Shake it off.
Next job.
Yeah, next job. Fuck
Yeah.
it. Don't worry about it. So I dropped the ball. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Early on, you'll be going, oh, man, you've got to get back into the game. And then you can try too hard. But by that time, I was just dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, dropped the ball again? No.
Okay. That was by memory, that was a high-scoring game.
Yeah, 35-32.
Yeah.
Was that when you guys went way behind and you came back?
Yes. They were on fire. They started off like a bullet a gate. And when that can happen at Ellis Park, you're thinking, oh, okay. Where's the halftime regroup situation going to happen? Because when they get on their foils, they can, and but I think
just testament to where we were, I think, as a team then,
Yeah. Was Joel Strzelecki playing that game? I remember him nailing.
He was playing the year before.
A couple of drop goals, and they had that other guy, Danie Gerber. He was dropping goals for fun as well.
He's the guy that got the record in '99 World Cup, wasn't he?
Yeah,
dropped like 5 drop goals in one game.
And he could kick from bloody miles.
I was going to say, that was the weirdest thing about it, because like you'd put them under pressure on D, like big time at Ellis Park, and you're like, yes. And you can see that they've got static ball. And it's like, we've done our job here, and Nick Minute, old mate's he's sitting back in the pocket from 55, 60 metres out, and you're thinking he's going to punt it down the middle or something.
Yeah.
And he's snapping a drop goal over, and all of a sudden you're watching this thing go over, you're thinking, hey, how do we deserve getting 3 points against us for that? There's something really wrong about this. But it's obviously altitude and,
I always remember, even from when I was watching them as a kid, how far they could kick the ball.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about altitude and all that back then too. But, you just thinking, these South Africans just added to the aura,
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of aura around your partnership with Walter Little. What made that combination?
Off the field.
Where are the better stories?
Yeah. Well, I think I could inject here and say they're probably off the field, but...
Talk me through that relationship.
So I first met Walt when I went over to North Harbour and he was only a young fella then, but I don't know. We just, it was it was just a relationship developed on the field first, and then it's like 9, 10, 10, 12, 12, 13.
Yeah,
you just get grouped, and we just we just hit it off, and it just went on from there. Played a lot together with the Chiefs, and he's a good guy, Walt. You have a beer, you have a laugh. Smoke, I never smoked.
I was going to say, it was the funniest thing seeing when I first arrived at Panamu, and I hadn't seen it, obviously, because being young, and the kind of, you're supposed to be this new sort of breed of rugby player, but there was still the old school, and the All Blacks still around, even 95, 96 when I was there. And you go in at the Panamu Hotel, had those balconies, and Walter would be out there like sucking on a dart, just before about to get on the bus going to training. It's like, oh, okay, jeez, he's probably got a stubby there too.
He was funny as anything. He used to room with him, and then smoking, he'd go out on the balcony. He'd go out, and John Timu rooming with him.
Yeah,
comes in, lights up. I was going, hey, fuck, what are you doing? Guess what? So fucking Walter goes out on the balcony. He goes outside and he goes, I'm not fucking Walter. And he's fucking smoke up the room, just going. But there were a lot of guys actually who, not a lot, but Foxy used to smoke.
Yeah, he did.
Get in the change room afterward, cigarette. JK smoked a little bit. Walter and John Timu. But, that's what you heard in the corner, eh? Light up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How important is, obviously it was very important to your career, Walter Little. How important is that combination, do you think, now at 12, 13? And is it almost more important than the individual, the combination?
See, the game's changed. I didn't even know if particular, when was the last time you saw a 13, a centre, outside centre, beat someone on the outside, run down and set up his wing.
Yeah.
A lot of times the wing's not even out there anymore. The game's just changed. I think the combinations still matter, and you obviously got to do your bit. Maybe 12 and 13 isn't the combination that the importance isn't the same as it used to be. Certainly still some are, 9 and 10, obviously 8 and 9, still hugely important. But once the ball gets out wider, and there's forwards in the game way too much these days.
Well, how important was Walter to your success then? Do you think you would have gone as far as you went without him?
Probably not. He gave me opportunity because he had such fast hands and good, whether he's playing at 10 or 12 or, he'd get the ball and then, gone, and you're just there. And that gives you, just more meters to operate in. So, and he'd probably underrated a little bit, really. He carried injuries from quite early on. And, he liked the smoke and
the social life.
And the social life, yeah. And that was around rugby at that time, and but he was a huge talent. Everything was natural. He could kick with both feet, he could pass both ways, he could do anything, So he set me up one day. We were playing Waikato in Oniwa Domain, and all week, because they had Reece Ellison in their midfield, who was a big tackler. And all week we're going, we've got to just watch out for that threat. Fuck. One of the first scrums, catches the ball, flicks it straight to me. I catch it, Reece Ellison. Say, fuck, what about the thing we trained? He goes, oh, sorry, man. He goes, fuck, I just saw him come flying, and I just...
You have it.
You have it. Oh, fuck. All right.
From a halfback's perspective, Marshy, when you went into that All Blacks team and you've got Frank Bunce and Walter Little in the midfield.
Yeah.
Did it really matter who was at 10? Like, you must have had supreme confidence that you get some clean ball out to those boys and the job's taken care of itself.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, when you think about that back line, we actually did have a pretty handy 10 as well in Andrew Mertens. So, who more often than not picked the right options. Yeah, that was the thing that he did that was really noticeable to me above any other 10, and so as a backline, you knew that when he's pulling the trigger, he's usually picking the right option based on what the defence are doing, whether he's missing Walter, hitting Frank. We used to do the 1-2 dummy back then, scissors, whatever. And so you got that midfield combination that just works and gels so well off a good distributor who's making the right decisions. And then you got the weapons on the outside. And we had Jonah, Goldie, and Cully. So that's a pretty, not a bad backline. You just wanted them to get the ball nice and quick and on the front foot and just let them do their thing,
It's all communication too. A guy like Mertz who could do anything except tackle. But,
we all covered for that.
But I mean, you're always talking. Just Mertz would make the decisions.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could throw in your options. Miss me, miss three.
Yeah.
Or Mertz, give it straight to me. Well, kick down, or and he'd have options, and then he'd pick one.
Yep.
And most of the time, as you say, it was the right,
one. Do you think it's? I know this is not an easy question, but do you think it's not rocket science that a lot of the All Blacks fluctuations recently, since the success at the 2011-2015 World Cup, is the fact that we actually haven't generated a regular centre combination, like since Ma'a and Conrad.
Yeah.
Like that was so functionable. And then guys like Ben Smith and Corey Jane and Israel Dagg and all of those just revolved around that centre pairing and all had their time coming into the jersey because there's never been a regular centre combination, has there?
No.
Like, I couldn't name two that have played 10 test matches together on the bounce in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. No, I think you're right in that combination, because it took, when me and Walter went, it took ages. There were heaps of different individuals. Let's try and make up a pairing, So mine and Walter's time at Harbour and the Chiefs and then the All Blacks. Well, Harbour and the Chiefs, that was the working that it did for the All Blacks. That was
that was my point about it's almost more important. The combination's more important than the player.
Right. And then after and Conrad, and again, it's been individual. They haven't picked the combination and gone right. It's just been try that. Well, yes, try that. Try that. So I think it. When you settle on something, let it see its time, and you can get bloody shit. Who knows? But I'm liking. I must admit, I'm liking Geordie and Quinn Tupaia at the moment.
Sure, yeah.
So we just see where that goes.
They just need time. Like it's like any combo. You mentioned 9 and 10, but some of the greatest centre combos in the world. Like, and you were up against Tim Horan and a Jason Little or Will Carling and Jeremy Guscott type thing, Bunce, Little, those combinations, because nothing can emulate the type of pressure that you get in a test match for time. Time is taken away from you because the intensity and the amount of skill set and that of players out there, they just take away your time more than any other game that you'll play, And so trust is massive. Trust in the guy on defence, trust in the guy, making the right decisions with ball in hand. And that then just happens out of knowing each other. There's no thinking component of it, is there? No. It just happens.
Yeah.
And that's irreplaceable when you get combinations like that. They're invaluable because that's the conduit, like particularly centre. If he's got working with his 12 well and the centre is functioning the defence with the outside backs and seeing the space when there's space for the outsides, that's when, particularly New Zealand rugby, we're at our best. When that work is working well.
Exactly, and I think that's a role too for the outside centre is the organisation. You're talking, you're communicating with your 12, and then you're also, just getting your outsides and your fullback, and it's like move back, come up. Used to tell Goldie all the time, you make that guy cut in, make the wing or whoever the last man, make him cut in, I'll get him.
Yes.
So you then can stay back and help, help Cully, and then you guys, you position people, So a lot of that, there's a role as an outside centre in terms of organisation. So I don't know how much that gets kind of seen, by people.
Just finally to finish things off, what is your prediction for the test matches in South Africa? Can the All Blacks win the series?
They can. That All Black team that's going over there is. I don't think I've been this excited.
No,
for ages, to be honest. And I really like the team they've named. I've got confidence now. South Africa, it's going to be as hard as it always is, if not a little bit harder, just because of the spot that South African rugby's in at the moment. They're supremely confident. Everything's going right for them. They've got 1 million people that they have in Rassie's, squad.
God, yeah.
Seems like they've just got people. When I was just recently over in over there, and they were talking about just the good space that rugby is in South Africa at the moment. But they were saying, we were talking about the size. They said, well, there's some young 20-year-old kid who's bigger than Etzebeth. Even now, who's come onto the radar. And you just think, where does it stop? Where does it end?
Yeah.
But they've always been huge, haven't they, those boys? Always, South Africans are always massive.
Yeah. We're in a good spot. We got, we're coming back into it. And once we get our confidence and we settle and, get into the rhythm, we can beat anyone.
They're smart though, to be fair, the way that they've structured the test series.
Yeah.
Because, obviously there's the 3 provincial games first. Which goes Stormers, then the Sharks in Durban, then the Bulls in Pretoria, and then the first test at Ellis Park. And, there'll be some All Blacks that we probably haven't played at Ellis Park before. And that first test in the series is huge, isn't it? Like, there's momentum, it's statement, like we're here. And it's on. We're ready.
Yeah.
And if you can make a statement in that first test, so I don't think
I
don't think it's any small surprise that first one's at Ellis Park.
Yeah.
But because they will look to use all form of intimidation, of familiarity, of altitude, of supporters. They are very different there, and they're very passionate. To conspire to make sure that you don't win that first test. God, did you ever experience driving into Ellis Park with the bus going towards that tunnel when we were going there in 96 for that last game? Obviously, they were a little bit upset that we'd won the series. And I remember them pushing the bus and the bus rocking.
The supporters.
Yeah.
It
was going from side to side with the flags waving and the Baka from the bus. It was cool because it was like, righto, we're here, but also we're out for you today. You might have won the series last week, but so there's nothing like it, so it's well set up.
Oh, it's super exciting. Thank you so much for coming in.
Awesome, Bunce.
Pleasure.
Epic yarn. And thank you very much for watching or listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button.